JC, I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of the times when I'm dealing with anxiety, I find it very easy for me to spiral, and when that happens, it's hard for me to get out of it. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on dealing with anxiety, but also recognizing and acknowledging my emotions.
Harvard Business Review came out with a study in 2023 that said the average adult makes anywhere between 30 to 35,000 decisions per day. Choices are all around us. We're making choices constantly without even realizing it. And I wanted to bring this thought to you today that regardless of how you feel, you can choose your reality. You can choose. It's up to you. Now, we live in a world where there's so much uncertainty. There's so many different people going through so many different feelings of fear and worry and stress and anxiety. My wife, being in the medical field, she talks to me all the time about so many people who are being diagnosed with just, man, they're feeling so stressed out. They're feeling they have so much anxiety, and they're anxious about a lot of different things. And you guys know me, I'm completely vulnerable. I'm completely transparent, sometimes a little too transparent. But to be honest, I've been in the season where I just been really anxious about a few things. I'm just going to be honest. There's been some things that I just been feeling that spirit of fear where it's like, I don't know necessarily what tomorrow may look like. We don't know. But at the same time, fear focuses on a few things that I want to kind of highlight today. So for some of us, when I'm in conversations with people, some people, they're scared about their job. They don't have job stability, and maybe their company has experienced a few layoffs. For those that maybe they work with different clients, and maybe a client pulled the contract, and now they're looking at their department like, man, should I be a little scared? They're a little nervous about their job stability, and it's creating the sense of anxiety, this stress. And without even realizing it, they're performing at the level of their stress. So now, because they're worried, because they're stressed of what the future may look like, they're not necessarily performing on the level that they should. For other individuals, maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum. Maybe your business isn't necessarily performing the way it once was. We're coming out of a booming economy where money was being spent just frivolously, and a lot of people were just spending. A lot of people were getting stimulus checks, and just money was coming out of nowhere. And now, on the other side of it, a lot of small businesses, they're kind of closing up shop. I work in a lot of different environments where I see a lot of mom and pop shops closing up stores. They're closing up the business, and you're looking at your business like, should I be scared? Should I be worried? I know a lot of people that have gone through a lot of hardships in their relationships. COVID was really a hard time for a lot of people. And even coming out of COVID, coming out of the pandemic, people were still kind of recovering. I know a lot of people that have gone through some hard divorces. And now you're looking at your relationship like, should I be scared? Should I be worried? A lot of people are looking at their friends, and they're looking at how a lot of their friends have kind of not necessarily treated them the same, and not even realizing it. They're responding out of that fear, and now they're performing and living out of that anxiety. What I want to propose to you guys is you can choose. You can choose. There's so many uncertainty and so many things going on in our world. There's war. There's okay. We have the fall of the economy. We got aliens. We got all these different things that the media is kind of just trying to flood our brains with, and it's just like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I feel crippled. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. What I want to propose to you is you can choose. So when we think about fear, whatever we're fearful for, it's something in front of us. It's an object. There's some kind of hurdle. There's some kind of objective that's in front of us. And this is a piece of wisdom that got dropped in my spirit younger in life, and it's stuck with me over the years. What you choose to focus on is going to be magnified. What you choose to focus on will be magnified. So if there's this object in front of you, what you choose to focus on about that object, that's going to be magnified. When I say magnified, that's literally all you're going to see. That's all you're going to see. So in the context of this conversation, you could choose what you see. You can look at this and go, you know what? I'm going to be fearful about this situation. And there's a few things that feed that fear. Or you can look at the same situation, and for the sake of this conversation, let's just say you could see an opportunity to be courageous. You could choose. Am I going to be fearful? or am I going to be courageous? You could choose. And now fear produces a few things, but fear, honestly, fear is a reaction. So once again, we can look at an obstacle, we can look at whatever's in front of us that's necessarily uncertain, and we could choose to be fear. Fear is a reaction. Typically, we react to things that we're unsure about. So we can look at this and go, man, I don't know how to respond to this, and it could produce fear. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. So we could look at this and it could be a big obstacle where we don't necessarily know how we're going to overcome it, but we could choose to have courage and we could decide to live from that sense of courage. Once again, you can choose. Fear does a few things. It focuses on what could go wrong. Fear focuses on worst case scenario. Fear focuses on worst case scenario. Okay, if I lose my job, then oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to provide, and then I'm not going to be able to provide. So now my wife is gonna be frustrated, and now my wife is potentially going to leave me, and then now she's going to leave me, and now she's going to take the house, and now I'm going to be homeless, and now I'm not going to necessarily see my kids, and now what am I going to do next? I'm going to grow old alone because nobody's ever going to be with somebody who got fired from their job, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Fear focuses on worst case scenario. And now we go down a rabbit hole and we come up with all these different scenarios of what could potentially never happen. But fear doesn't focus on possibilities. Fear focuses on worst case scenario. But on the flip side, courage focuses on what could go right. Catch that. Courage doesn't necessarily say, this is going to be completely perfect. I'm going to be completely fine. Courage understands that there's some uncertainty here. There's some uncertainty here. But instead of focusing on the fear, courage says, you know what? There's some uncertainty here, but I know I can overcome this. I believe that everything is going to work out. Courage is the decision to go, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to overcome this. You can choose what you want to focus on. So once again, fear focuses on failure and failure only. Fear focuses on worst case scenario. Courage, though, it identifies that fear is a possibility, but success is a possibility also. Failure is a possibility. Failure could happen. I could come against this and my whole life could be ruined. But you know what? Success is possible as well. And depending on what you choose to fuel that thought, you'll start performing in that way. So I just wanted to once again, there's so much going on around us. I wanted to just remind us that we can choose the reality that we want to face, the reality that we want to live in. And based on that reality, based on what you focus on, that's going to be magnified. And then you'll start performing in that sense of courage or failure. Now, another thing that I want to bring up with fear is fear, it cripples you. This is how you can test, okay, am I operating from this spirit of fear or am I operating from courage? If you feel crippled, you feel stuck, you feel like, I don't know how I'm going to move forward. I don't know what I'm necessarily going to do. I don't know how I'm going to overcome this. Those are some tall tale signs that you're focusing on the wrong thing. Fear cripples you. You're not necessarily able to take action. You're not necessarily able to move forward. But if you're focused on courage, this is how you know you can, if you're focused on courage, if you're willing and able to take small steps, not necessarily big steps sometimes, but you're willing and able to take small steps forward. You're ready to take action. You know what? I don't know what this is going to look like economically, but I'm ready to take small steps forward. You know what? I know my relationship is going through a hard time, but you know what? I'm willing to take small steps forward in getting counseling, in getting some therapy, and having that hard conversation. I'm willing to take steps to move forward. Courage mobilizes you. Fear cripples you. Courage mobilizes you. It gives you the fuel. It gives you the energy to take steps forward, whether small steps or large steps. But courage enables you and mobilizes you to move forward. Fear, it cripples you. And if you stay in that spirit of fear, you'll look back and you go, man, I've been stuck here for far too long. And one reason why fear does that, I brought it up earlier in a couple of examples, is because of one powerful thing that really every human being has. I don't know if you believe it or not, but I'm going to share it with you. One reason why fear cripples you is because of one thing that every human being has. It's this up here. It's our imagination. It's our imagination. God gave us this gift of creativity and we use it in the form of imagination. But so many people were using that gift improperly. That 30 to 35,000 decisions, imagine how many of those decisions are made from fearful decisions. Because of our imagination, we can go down and create, we can go down rabbit holes and create so many alternative realities. And it's just like, how did we get there? How do we get here? How do we get here from this scenario? Think about that. If you really pause and think about it, some of you guys have a wild imagination. You have a wild, creative, yes, but you have a wild imagination. It's like, how did you get from here? How did you get from, oh my gosh, if I don't graduate, and you trickle down, and now you're homeless, living on the street in like Indonesia or something like that. It's like, how did you get from here to here? It's because of this, our imagination. Our imagination could it could benefit you or it could harm you. Think about that. Our imagination, it's a gift, but you can use the gift improperly. It could be either a gift or a curse. You can use your imagination to benefit you. So if you focus on courage, you can go, man, failure is a possibility, but you know what? This can go right. This could be successful. And if this is successful, then man, my life can change in this regard and my life can change in this way. And you know what? Once our imagination gets going, we know it could be like a snowball. It could start to build. And that, wow, not only is my life changed, my family's life has changed. Our friends' lives are changed. My neighborhood has changed. My community's changed. My city's changed. And we can continue to build that momentum. But on the flip side, if you focus on fear, that snowball is still going to happen. That snowball effect is still going to build. And what I'm trying to get to you, what I'm trying to get you guys to see is you can choose. You can choose. And such a large part of my life, I really wasn't necessarily focused on the right thing. I wasn't necessarily focused on the right thing. I didn't allow these tools, I didn't allow these things to work in my favor. I didn't allow time to work in my favor. I didn't necessarily choose courage, and I was focused on fear without even realizing it. And the whole purpose of these videos is to help you guys spark some compelling thoughts to move you forward so that way you're not stuck in a rut trying to figure out, how did I get here? So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was valuable. If it was, do me a favor, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and subscribe and join this community as we continue to share compelling stories that can help move the needle in your life and create some compelling momentum so we all can live compelling lives. And if you found this helpful and somebody else could benefit, go ahead and share that as well. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.